What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Austin's Automotive. You're in for another good week. You guessed it, we're still working on the El Camino. If you haven't seen us putting her in primer, go check out last week's video and make sure to subscribe, tell your friends. So thanks for your support, guys, but this week we're gonna jump on to the old power plant and we'll see how far we get, but we need to go through the motor, we need to pull the training out. It runs, drives just fine. But we just want to kind of go through it, and then we want to look at getting the suspension down a little bit. So I think that's what we're going to work on this week. See how much we get done. Let's get into it, guys. All right, I don't think I've ever had you guys under the hood here. Nothing fancy. We're just looking at the old stock box of rocks, small block, but it's pretty clean under here. It's why I really liked this car. It really wasn't messed around with too much. Runs really good. Does smoke just a little bit when we first start her up, so probably need some valve stem seals. No big deal. I think we're gonna take care of that while we're in here. Pretty fun little project. But she's ooey, gooey, gross. Get all that. She needs cleaned up. Can't be having that. All right, we got the hood off. We're gonna run a compression test on this real quick before we pull it out. Just kind of know if we got any major problems. It does run good, no misses, nothing like that. We do have a little bit of smoke when I started up, like I say, but I think that's valve stem seals. But we just want to make sure that, you know, our life's pretty good on this thing. So let's check the compression out. All right, just got a universal compression tester. We have done a few things to this. You know, when I first got it, we just kind of went through it to make sure it's mechanically sound. We did plugs, wires, cap, rotor, water pump, thermostat, stuff like that. Nothing real big, but I kind of remember we did put new plugs and stuff like that in it. I did also unhook the distributor, the coil here, so it won't fire up on us, or try to anyhow. They will fire up on 4 cylinders. All right, well, you guys seen it. We got pretty good numbers of the number 8, and it's not horrible, 125. It's just a little alarming that we got 150 and 155, 140, 140, and then that one's only 125. So we'll take a look at that cylinder. We may have maybe a valve issue, you know, it could be a ring issue. We'll take a look at it though. We want to double check that cylinder, but yeah, the rest of them I'm pretty happy with, especially for, you know, a 90 some thousand mile small block Chevy. So once we dig into it, we are going to check the numbers, see if it's the original one, but I'm sure it is. It seems to be. So let's get to ripping this thing apart. I don't think I need to tell you guys too much about how to pull a small block Chevy, so We're gonna get it ripped out. I'm gonna probably pull the motor and the transmission separate just to make it a little easier on me. So I'll probably drop the tranny and then we'll pull the motor, and we'll see you guys when we get her out. All right, we've been making good progress. Only been on it a couple hours maybe. I think we're ready to pull it though. So we got everything off, got the exhaust off, drive shaft, all that good stuff out. I decided I am gonna pull it all as one. It is a short tail shaft turbo 350, I forgot that. So hopefully, I was worried about her angle coming out, but I think with a short tail shaft, we should be able to get her. I do got the radiator yet to unhook, and then we're gonna go ahead and yank her out. So let's get her. Kind of funny, I waited to pull this with you guys. Look at that thing, that radiator's bad. That tranny cooler was dry as a bone up there. So, well, it's a good thing we noticed that. We've never had any tranny issues, but we were gonna have some with that. Our cooler must be plugged up, so we'll have to figure something out or check our tranny out, one of the two. We wanna make sure we figure out what's going on there, because we should have some fluid in there. That's another reason I like to do motors before we paint. We're ramming our lift right into the front bumper. So we're gonna have to figure something out when we go back in. You know, we can fix it now, but man, I just hate pulling motors after they're painted. Let's see what happens. As we get her to come forward a little bit, it'll relax that jack a little. Now she's coming forward. Sometimes they just like to be stubborn. I did forget to mention, I did have an old, just a yoke I tossed in the tranny, so we're not pouring out tranny fluid. I have loosened up our tranny cross member, so I'm gonna go ahead and knock it out of there. That way she'll tilt and come up out of there. She just likes playing dirty with me, I think. She kind of fought me all the way. Got to talk a little dirty to her, and then she just comes right apart. I don't know. All right, now we got some wiring going along the back. I always wait until we get her out just a little bit so we can get to it. No need struggling underneath if you don't have to. Might as well struggle out here, you know? Don't struggle, heck. All right, anybody now? Alright, got all that free. Already got our tranny kicked down free. Looks like that's everything to me. Give her the pull. Well, if you guys got an old yoke and you pull a lot of these small blocks, that's the way to do it. There's no leaking. I like it that way. I always keep one around for that. Kind of tricky to do by yourself. All right, she's out. Pretty good in there. We're gonna paint the firewall up. This is the main reason for doing this. Clean it up, clean this engine bay up. And yeah, I think that's gonna wash up nice. Pretty happy. Motor, ooh. Yeah, she needs a cleaning. That's all right. We'll get her. We're supposed to get some nice weather this week. We get these things split apart. I did go ahead and pull the torque converter bolts already. Tech tip, do that first. It's way easier in the car than on the stand here to get them torque converter bolts out. So I already get them off, just split that bell housing bolts off, and we'll have a splitter up and get the motor on stand. Bill, we got them out. Got us a little work area here. Just laid down some plastic, got the transmission elevated so we can get it scraped. Got the motor up here on the engine stand. We'll tear that down here in a little bit. First, we're going to start on the transmission. We're not going to get too carried away with these. We are going to hot rod up the motor a little bit, maybe. We do want to look at that valve stem seal issue. I think we're going to maybe throw a cam in it. We'll see what it looks like inside there. Maybe we'll decide a little more as we go. The transmission, though, it's working just fine. From my experience, turbo 350s, the fluid looks good, it's shifting good, don't mess with it. It's working fine, leave it alone. It doesn't seem to be leaking any fluid, but we'll look at our seals, maybe pop in a couple new ones, but we are going to clean it up, just paint it, and slap it back in. Motor, we'll go through it, but we're going to get on to the fun stuff, scraping. It's going to be the fun stuff of today, cleaning her up, getting her ready, so it's part of it. Let's do it. Here's my weapons of choice, just some scrapers. Whatever you need to do the job. Once we get most of it scraped off, we'll start going to some chemicals and some brushes, but for starters, let's just get that big stuff off. All right, I hope you guys are more excited than Mavi. We got the tranny cleaned up, scraped up. I'm happy with it. We hit her with some chemicals. It's supposed to warm up tomorrow, hopefully. So we'll hit her with some chemicals and scrub brush. We did already, when we had the mechanic shop, you know, I kind of had the guys go through this thing. you know, front to back. So everything's pretty well gone through, but as of the trainee, we did service it, flush it, new filter, and we put a chrome paint on it with a drain plug. You know, it's good. I'm happy with it, so it should be just fine. So we're jumping over to the motor. We've kind of started ripping some stuff off. I started scraping, got half of it here done, looking pretty good. Got tired of that, so started ripping some stuff off. You know, the carb, it's already been rebuilt, so I wanted to make sure it didn't get junked up. And so we kind of started messing around. The numbers are numbers matching on this block. So if you guys don't know, they're right up here on the front, right behind the water pump. Zoom out here a little bit. Yeah, right down in here. This first set of numbers here, that matches my VIN. So that's pretty cool. Pretty excited about that. So we got a numbers matching car, which I'm not surprised. I figured we did. Like I say, this car was pretty nice, just old original car. So let's tear into the motor. I'm excited to see what the inside looks like. All right, just wanted to give her a quick vacuum. You know, dirt, engines, no good. They don't like each other. So try to minimize it. You know, we're tearing it apart. We're gonna go through everything, clean it, but still just want to minimize the junk. Oh boy. All right, I'm happy with that. That's clean. Not a lot of buildup. That's nice and clean. Can we go double or nothing? Oh yeah. I'm happy with that. Cannot complain. All right, let's see what she really looks like. Should have ate my Wheaties this morning. You haven't ever lifted a cast iron intake. Alright. I'm pretty happy with that. Looks good in there. Bring you guys in here. Well, just initially, I'm not unhappy. Looks good. Pretty clean. Let's keep diving deeper. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. I grabbed you guys, but I'm all dirty. Hopefully you can see. I can just barely feel a ridge here, but man, the cylinders look nice. No complaints. I'll get you guys in here closer. We get a little further down. On a small block Chevy, push rods, they're all the same length, but I do want to check them real quick just to make sure they're all straight, just to make sure we don't have any issues. Plan on reusing them, so I just want to make sure. So I'm just going to roll them, make sure they're straight, and then I'll kind of know where they go. If we had an issue, then I could know that cylinder had an issue. But otherwise, if you knew they were good, you could just rip them out and stick them back in if you wanted. That's what we're going to do. Darn phone always goes off when we're filming. All right, they all look good to me. I'm just rolling them here on the smooth concrete. That's how I was taught. You know, let me know how you guys are taught. I don't know if it's right or wrong. So what's got me by though, I've done a lot of small blocks this way, and well, the only thing that's hurt them is my foot. So, you know, I'd say we're doing all right. Let's clean them up. Whoa. All right, all of our push rods on both sides were good. I just rolled them on the ground. That's how I was always taught how to do it. Kind of an old school trick, it works. And on a small block, they're all the same length as I said. So we'll just clean these up. Make sure to clean out the tubes real good and they'll be just fine. All right, got this side off. I wanted to bring you guys in and remember these numbers. So number 8 was the troubled cylinder, which would be this guy here. And so I've just learned, you know, you gotta figure out what's going on over the years. That's the best way. So you take it apart, and looking at things will usually tell you a lot, just looking at things. So you guys look at that head gasket. Now it looks pretty good. Take a better look though. Keep looking at it. Notice how these two cylinders, you can really see the rings really prominently. And then here it really starts to fade out a little bit. Fades out here worse. And then we get over here. I don't know about you guys, but this is just my opinion. Take it or leave it. Looks like it's burning out here through these head studs. It's just my opinion. Looks like we could be losing a little compression there. The cylinder feels good. It looks good. So I think, just my opinion, take it for what it's worth. We had a head gasket issue, which doesn't surprise me. Almost all small blocks I get into, if I don't mess with the head gaskets, they give me troubles later. So after sitting, you know, they're just not happy, and I don't know. It's not too big of a deal to replace them. But I think the inside of our engine looks really nice. All right, normally if you were pulling these lifters and you were gonna reuse this cam and lifter set, which you could, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. You would want to number these and keep them together, but we're not going to reuse the cam lifters, so they're junk to me. Well guys, I could lie to you and say those lifters came right out of there, but they didn't. So they're out now. They just did not want to leave. Well, here's the inside of the pan. I don't see anything real big in there. It just looks a little slimy, but honestly, fairly clean. Our screen, even not too bad. So, I really don't see anything that alarms me. Everything looks pretty good. Everything looks really good, actually. Other than where I dropped all that junk in there. It's alright, we'll clean it up. Can't get this off here. There we go. Oh boy. Yeah, it needs a timing chain. I kind of figured so. Looks like the old original. So, yeah, we're definitely going to be replacing that. But as I said, we're putting a cam in it, so I planned on that. It's super cheap. Let's pop a couple bearing caps off and see what they look like. That one's gonna come off pretty easy. All right. Sometimes you got to give them a little love tap. It's coming right off. Okay. Grab a better rag here. All right, that one's got, all right. Well, I don't know, guys. Those bearings look pretty good. That bearing I'm impressed with. You know, I'm gonna leave it if they all look like that. I don't see any serious wear. It's very minimal. I don't know if maybe somebody's been in this thing, but those bearings do not look bad. So I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna check a couple more if they look good. I did retorque that one back. But let's check a couple more and see what they look like. Well, I'm pretty happy with that one too. I don't think we're gonna be putting bearings in that. Let's check some rods. That one's got a little bit more wear than the other one. But honestly, I don't know. Probably most guys would probably say I should. I don't know. If it's running too good, I'm gonna leave it. All right, there's our cam. And yeah, I don't know. She looks kind of tired. Got, you know, a few lobes like that one. That one's down quite a bit. So, yeah, I don't know. Just time for a new one. Time for an upgrade. Best way to get horsepower out of a small block. Cam swap. All right, well, kind of looking through there. Pretty happy with the cam bearings as well. They seem to be fine to me. I don't see anything real big in there, so I'd say we're ready to finish cleaning this old pig up and start putting some new parts on it. So overall, pretty happy with that teardown. I think we got a pretty good little small block here. We're not building no monster or nothing. We're just building an old cruiser, so. Ah man, it's a nice day. Good day for dirt bikes, and we got the nephew over here riding a four-wheeler. I forgot about filming, but hey, we're getting it. We got the hot seat out, we're power washing. We got the heads all nice and cleaned up. Boy, if you guys got access to a hot seat, that is just the way to clean them up. If not, I used to take them to the car wash all the time, you know, it works, but hot seat sure does cake it off. Got all those parts cleaned up. Pretty happy with everything. We're gonna blast the motor and tranny, that's what I got left. And yes, I know this motor is all open. And man, I can't tell you how many small blocks I've power washed this way. I'm gonna clean her up really good after we power wash it with some brake clean. And we'll dump some fresh oil down through it and kind of flush it out. But yeah, you know, I mean, you obviously try not to spray inside the engine, but you can throw the pan and stuff on if you're real worried about it. But I think I can be careful enough. We'll get her. It'll be all right. You know, the day it's mine. All right, tranny's a little different situation. We're not busting into it, so we do not want to get water inside of it. Water and automatic transmissions don't work well together anyways, so you want to stay away from that dipstick, but you know, this whole side can get that main body, so that's what we're gonna get. Well, looks good. A couple minutes and she really cleaned up, so I'm happy. Everything should be fine. Yeah, we got motor or water all over inside this thing, probably some junk. I got a fresh case of brake clean. We're gonna flush her out. We still got to get all the gaskets off and all that good stuff, so we're gonna get some more crud in there, but at least we got the grease off. I'm happy with that, so keep working on her. Alrighty, we're ready to start cleaning her up. I'm just gonna use my little angle grinder. I got these little finger wheels. If you guys ever never use these work pretty good for cleaning up gaskets. Like them. They don't take care of any of the metal or aluminum away, but they do get rid of the gasket, so it's a lot better than the old, like the old Scotch-Brite pads, you know. That's what my grandpa always used to use, but you know, they're hard on the aluminum if you're not careful. These are just kind of a little safer. I think that's what they're designed for. Let's clean her up. All right, well, we got her all cleaned up, blown out, wiped down, brake cleaned off. I'm happy with it. We're gonna start putting it back together. So, yeah, we're gonna start off by getting the rear main put in, and then we'll probably throw the pan on, then we'll work our way up into putting the cam in. Go ahead and do the top end. So, go ahead and get started on this. So, on a small block, on most motors, you gotta pull the rear cap off on these old 2-piece rear mains. Hello. And you got top and bottom, and the rear main seal sits back in here. So you just got to get that shoved out of there. We'll get a new one put in there, put that back in. Simple on that. All right, I saved a little bit of the oil when I drained this because it only had, a couple hundred miles on this thing after we changed the oil, when we originally went through it. So just kind of saved it to use, kind of grease up some of these seals and stuff like that. Get a little oil on there and it just slides right back in. They do recommend doing a offset seal from your main cap. So you just kind of want to put this in there and then give her a little bit of a turn. That way you get an offset seal there with it. Now, as I was taught, put a little dab of silicone down here in the very corners still. I don't think it hurts anything. Those old timers usually know best, and that's who told me, it was the old timers. So I always try to take advice. Somebody's got to give it. I'll listen. I'm gonna put a little in there. Don't take much, just a little bit in the corners. Just what I was always taught, I don't know. Heck, in my experience, it seems like they always leak anyhow, but sure give her a try. Try to get it to not leak. All right. Torque down. So, I haven't went over a lot of the parts on this thing. I'm using up what I got. This is a budget thing. I've been doing this for a few years, so as you can kind of just look around, it's just some parts I've had laying around. I've put a few small blocks together in my day. So these are just kind of some leftover tidbits, stuff I've had. So it looks like we got a new high volume oil pump. So we're gonna go ahead and throw that at it. The old one was fine, but my opinion, it'd be kind of silly not to put an oil pump in it while we're right here. So we're gonna throw that on. I just cleaned the original screen. They just kind of pop off there. Pretty easy deal. Let's go ahead and flip her over and see if we can't throw the cam in her. All right, believe it or not, it's brand new. You guys just see me pop the tape. Let's see, where is it here? I know it's on here somewhere. I seen it the other day. There it is. Look at that, I ain't kidding you. I've had this thing since 14. So yeah, I'm using some stuff up I've had laying around. I'm not kidding. So, cam's pretty cheap. Best way to get power out of a older engine, in my opinion. This is a nice little set, cam lifters, brand new. Just waiting for this project. So the lifters, I got that bucket of oil. We're just going to throw these in some oil, just get them filling up a little bit. Just don't hurt to have a little extra oil in them. All right, got them soaking. Go ahead and pop the cam in. Gotta like new stuff, it's like Christmas. This is just a mild cam, choppy idle. Yeah, it's good low end torque, which is good for us. I'll throw the specs up there for you guys if you really care to know. That's what she is. So yeah, should wake it up a little bit. A lot better than stock. Handy paperwork. What really matters, shiny new cam. Just while I'm thinking of it, I guess it's got this little tag here. You do want to make sure you use the break-in oil. I do have some. That's what we're going to be using. So I'll probably show you guys later when we do break it in. But while I'm thinking of it, that's what I use. So I've got it too. All right, you just kind of want to make sure your cam looks good. Everything looks good to me. We don't have anything built up on it. Make sure you get any crap off of it, but they look pretty good. I got some bolts. These are the longest bolts I got. I usually like to have some 4 or 5 inchers, you know, so you can really get a grip on it. It kind of helps just leading it in. Just want to be careful not to bang up the cam bearings. But there really isn't much to it. It's pretty simple. Just grease her up and careful putting it in. Don't really hurt if you get any all over the lobes either, because that just helps the brake in. At first start up, you just kind of get her all over everything. All right, she's home. Just kind of want to set her in a little bit, work that grease in. That way on your initial start, you know you're not metal to metal. And I always like to dump a little oil. You know, of course we'll prime it too, but you know, just kind of helps her. A little lubrication. All right, well, let's time her up. All right, we got to pull this bottom timing gear off. Pulls off pretty easy, usually. All right, next up, I got a good used single timing chain cover. It was a motor we put together, and then I think we ended up going with a gear drive in it shortly after, so that's the reason why I got it, and it's practically new. So again, on the spirit of budget, we're using it. Pretty simple on these. You got one side, no dot, one side's got a dot out, so. Pretty hard to mess that one up. All right, pretty simple here. When it goes on one way, line the dots up. I guess I'm using it quite a bit. I'll show you guys this. A fancy little tool, I don't know. It's kind of the brand logo, maybe the part number, I don't know. It's a Keyway crank pulley tool, so you don't have to mess around. You know, I stripped a crank out once, turning them over by the bolt, and that's how I ended up with this tool. So used to just kind of use the bolt to turn them over, and yeah, that only took one time, and I invested into that. So kind of a neat tool, but we got her timed up anyhow. Everything looks good, so we can throw the timing cover on, then we can flip her back over and throw our pan on, and our bottom end's pretty well good to go. And we'll start throwing together the top end. I like to throw just a little thin layer down just to hold the gasket. I don't know, that's just me. As you notice, I did kind of clean up and sand that. Most of the parts, you know, just makes it a little easier before we get it together. We can go ahead and throw that oil pump rod in there while we don't have the pan in the way. Sometimes they can be a little bit of a booger. It should stay on there. Some of you guys just wondering, I'm sure, what was I doing? I don't know. It's been a while. Good thing the bolts come right back out. All right, I got our front, our back figured out, got our sides laid out. So I really, I don't know, I really hate oil pans on small blocks. It seems like they always leak, and I really like a dry engine. So every time I try my dangest to not get an oil leak. So we're gonna try it again this time. The one-piece oil pan gaskets are super nice. They're kind of spendy. But if you have the option of getting one, I would. They are probably worth the money. We're keeping her low buck, and we already have this in their spendy. So anyhow, we're going to get this put down on there. So the way I like to do it is, got your cork, just kind of give her a little tack, a couple places to just kind of hold it to the block. And then we'll fill up our corners with RV in each corner, and then we'll stick our rubbers down on, and then we'll put more RV. And then I like to put a bead RV on the pan, just because sometimes the pans are a little uneven, and you know, I really don't like oil leaks, so we try our best, you know. So let's get to it. All right, as you can see, it's just a real thin layer, and then I kind of gooped her in the corners. Kind of just holds it there. The front kind of packs up there in the corner. The back, it does set kind of in between the two, so you do got to leave a little bit of gap. And I like to try to fill this little corner up here with a little bit of RV and then some on top. That's what we're doing anyways. All right, a little closer look. That one kind of lays on top, and you can see I got some RV in there, both sides. On the back, kind of sets a little different. It sets on top of that cork. I got RV. Now I'm gonna put a layer all the way around this again, and then we'll pop our pan on. That's how I do her. You guys let me know how you do it, but I've had decent luck this way. I don't know, sometimes just old small blocks are just oily. Just when you think you got too much on, I think you got enough. So I think I got too much on. I'll show you before we pop it on. I just did a thin layer all the way around. All right, I'm gonna get all the bolts started in that, kind of snug it up, and then I'll wait an hour or so and then come back and re-snug everything. That way you got good seal on there. Let that Permatex kind of harden up a little bit. Go grab some bolts, and bottom end's about done. Here we go, bottom sealed up. Like I say, we'll let that tack up for a little bit, and I'll come back in, retorque everything. I like to use that speed wrench, as you've seen. You know, it just kind of helps you from over torquing anything. We're back at her this morning. Got the heads up here. Luckily my workbench we got here has got a big chunk of nylon on the end, so it makes kind of a nice work area to, you don't have to worry about marring up your heads or nothing like that. It's on this. So anyways, we're gonna get these cleaned up. We're gonna get our stem seals put in, try to get the rest of our motor put together today. All right, now we got her cleaned up. We're gonna go ahead and throw in our stem seals. So we got lots of different options for this. You know, you can start off with something simple. I think these are pretty inexpensive. They're just a little one, you know, kind of small manual. It'll get in there and get the job done. We've got another one here, kind of the same way, small manual. You know, a little different, just for different engines, stuff like that. Then we've got this one, which is similar to what we're going to be using today. This is the manual option. The one we're going to be using today works good because we got the heads off already, and it's air. So yeah, like that. So let's pull some stem seals. A little tough to do one-handed anyways. Pretty simple design. These little keepers here, they just retain your valve spring and your retainer cap, all that good stuff, which we don't need any of that. We're just putting all that back the way it was. What we're after is this little tiny seal right here, which I don't know if you guys can see, just a little tiny guy right here, hard as a rock. And I'm sure we'll find a couple that are broken. That one's not, but I'm sure that we will find some that are cracked. Those are our problems. That's why we're getting smoke. And this one's just hard, and it should be a nice rubber. So we get those popped off and changed out. You can kind of see there's your seal, and it just crumbles. So that's our problem for sure, which is very common, extremely common, especially with a motor that's been sitting for a long time. You know, it's rubber, they dry up. All right, it's one head down. I just kind of give them a little bit of a bump just to make sure those keepers are set. And I do have a little bit of assembly lube that I'm dipping my O-rings in before I put them on, just to kind of help them, you know, on that initial startup. They've just got a good seal going already, so. All right, well, we got her all together. I'm happy, went good. Actually looked a lot better inside than I thought. I thought we were gonna have to get into a lot more on this, so happy we didn't. Hopefully everything goes good when we first start her up. I'm sure it will. Got her all gasketed up, ready for paint. Looks good. I'm excited. We didn't spend a boatload of money. We only got a couple $100 invested in this all in, and that's just some brake clean, engine degreaser, oil cinder, a couple seals, just some stuff we didn't have laying around on the shelf. Everything else I'm not including because we already had it laying around on the shelf. So it's kind of exciting, but anyhow, we got the rest of this ready for paint. Tranny is nice and cleaned up. I don't plan on painting it. We're just gonna leave her nice and clean and get her put in. So that's gonna do it for this week. Y'all are gonna have to come back to see her get put in shiny paint. We'll do that with the rest of the engine bay. We'll put some epoxy prime and paint that engine up nice and shiny with the gun. If you guys haven't seen that, make sure to come back. We'll get the rest of this sparkled up. Next week we're gonna work on getting air ride put on though. I'm pretty excited about that. It's not something I'm really experienced in, so I'm quite excited to get into it. So we'll see you guys next week. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Really appreciate y'all watching, following along. Catch you guys next time. Thanks. See y'all. Bye.